Hi, everybody. So, this is not one of the books on the 100 NPR list, but it probably should be. Today, I want to review a book called Ring Shout by the author's name is P. Djeli Clark, if I'm pronouncing that right. And I want to say I read this book really quickly. It's a novella, so it's about 185 pages. And the pace of it is just absolutely frenetic. And I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It was an absolute delight to read. And this is what I look for as a horror fan. The writing was good. The characters were fantastic. Each character was so unique and had this wonderfully expressive voice. And it touched on social and cultural criticism without being too heavy-handed. And there was lots and lots of great gore. I know not everybody looks for that, but actually, as far as gore goes, I think it has to be relevant to the story. But there was some really, really creepy body horror. And overall, it was a fantastic read. If you're a horror fan and you're looking for something that is, socially and culturally relevant, but is still a fantastic story, I highly recommend Ring Shout. So, spoilers ahead. It's the story of a young woman named Maurice. She's about 25, and she is in Macon, Georgia in the early 1920s, which of course was an absolutely terrible time and place to be a young black woman. And in this world, this is a mix of, I think, I would call it dark fantasy, magic realism, and alternate history. Because it's set in a time when the Ku Klux Klan was starting to take hold in terms of their power. And in the book, I took absolute delight in this. I thought this was so clever. The Klan members, or the people that had been swayed by the Klan, were normal humans. But their hatred was food for literal monsters called the Ku Klux. And they had been conjured by a literal grand wizard. And some of his magic or his power was created through the film The Birth of a Nation. And The Birth of a Nation was a way to reach lots and lots and lots of people and to sort of get them into this space where they could be taken over and their hatred could be eaten by these monsters. And I thought that was just so wonderfully, cleverly done, that they're literal monsters. But they look like normal people until they actually, until their human facade gets blown away. And Maurice is one of very few people that can see them. She says she has the sight. And Maurice is grieving because 7 years prior to the events of this book, her family was murdered by Klan members. And at the time, she was hiding, and she was given a sword, this magic sword that kills the Ku Klux. And the afterward from and the notes from the author say they point out, why does a sword wielding monster hunter have to be in a medieval fantasy setting? Why, or medieval Britain? Why can't they be a 20th century black woman in the Prohibition era or what have you, right? So I thought that was really, really clever. So she and her gang, and it's all women too, which is also interesting. There's Chef, her name's Cordelia. She's a World War I veteran, and she blows things up. And then there's Sadie, who is a crack shot with a Winchester that she calls Winnie. And they also run booze for this woman who speaks in this, I'm not sure what it's called. It's called Gullah. I don't know what that is, but it's sort of a what they call pidgin English. It's a you kind of get the gist of what she's saying from the context, but she speaks this kind of strange mix of English and Creole and all the other things that are a mishmash in there. And I like I said, I really enjoy the voice of these characters as well as what they're in, or the situations that they're in. So Sadie has a dream that she meets this horrible butcher guy, and he says, "Oh yeah, we've been waiting for you." And then she goes, she's got these, she calls them the aunties, but they're really based on kind of like the Furies or the Fates, these three old women that are sort of running the show and telling her to do things or not to do things. And they set her a task that this really awful thing is coming and she's got to be prepared for it. And so she goes on a journey to... This part is hard to explain. I suggest just reading the book. And then there's a big battle at the end, and there's all these terrible dream characters, and I know I'm totally botching what I'm telling, but I want to tell the spoilers, but I kind of don't want to tell the ending because it's so much fun. It is just a really fun read. So I read it really quickly because my internet was out last night, so I had nothing better to do than read. So I am just going to leave it at that. Ring Shout by Djeli Clark. Go and read it if you're a horror fan, especially if you're a fan of culturally relevant horror. And the 1920s are one of my favorite time periods to read about, and it's just a fantastic read. 5 out of 5 stars. I hope you're reading lots of great horror. Have a great day.